Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome inside the vault. My name is Sarah Ellison, and my co-host Bobby Trossett. Well, he's on his way to Belize right now. He's going out there to celebrate his mom's 60th birthday, along with several of his siblings and the whole Trossett clan. So we wish them the best. I hope they have a blast. But I am here with you solo for now. I'll be bringing in a guest soon enough. But for now, it's solo Sarah, and we've got a lot to talk about. And I've wanted to touch on a certain topic that's been on my mind for a little while, and it's this idea of how much Las Vegas loves the Ravens. I mean, record doesn't matter. Injuries haven't mattered. Vegas has just continually given the Ravens amazing odds, not only to win the AFC North, but now to win the whole AFC. What is going on? I want to try to put some reasons behind the math that they're putting together. 4 or 5 reasons why I think Vegas believes more in the Ravens than perhaps some Ravens media members or perhaps some Ravens fans. So did you guys take a look at Ravens Wired? And the beginning of that, the Omar/Lamar coming bit, the way they started it, it was insane. I want to talk about Kyle Hamilton and the havoc that he has been wreaking. And then also we've got a little bit, let me make sure I got my rundown here. Oh, the first look at Dre'Mont Jones as a Baltimore Raven, wearing the number 41, his reaction to being traded kind of out of nowhere in his eyes. And then at about 12:25, Femi Ayambadejo will join me inside the vault. He's got a lot, as he always does, to get off his chest. He wants to address some toxicity that he feels like has been going around. He and I will also preview the Vikings game, give our score predictions, and a whole lot more. So yeah, we got a lot to get to. And now I just realized this is what happens when you are solo, that I haven't brought in the slides yet. So let me bring that in. But as I do, I mentioned off the top that Vegas loves the Ravens. Vegas, and I mean, it's all sorts of different odds makers who keep putting Baltimore as the best chances to win the AFC North. And here they are. Kalshi's one of those ones. You guys have seen some of these graphics before. Even after the Steelers upset the number 1 seed in the AFC, Kalshi still has the Ravens with 15% better odds at winning the AFC North. And then yesterday, we showed this very briefly, Bobby and I did. Kalshi with this tweet, crazy but true. The 3 and 5 Ravens have a better chance to win the AFC than the following teams. There's the 7 and 2 Browns, the 7 and 2 Patriots, the 6 and 3 Chargers, the 5 and 3 Steelers, the 5 and 3 Jaguars. So this isn't just the division. It isn't just because the Ravens are going to be able to play their division rivals and could potentially win out against them. This is bigger than that. This is the AFC. So I want to point to several reasons, even though we've had a lot of frustration and anger in the air at the trade deadline. And I think it's fair that people wanted Eric DeCosta to add an interior defensive lineman and maybe a guard, even though there were no quality guards that were traded. We've talked about Quinnen Williams. I thought it was an overpay, just which you can do sometimes, but I didn't think that he'd be the guy to get the Ravens to the Super Bowl. Nonetheless, I felt like Eric DeCosta should have and could have addressed the interior defensive line. But despite all that, this is the math. This is the math that the Ravens have better chances than teams that are 7 and 2 to win the conference. Okay, so here are the reasons why I think that Vegas is a believer. And it starts with Lamar Jackson. How could it not start with Lamar Jackson? He just came off of injury. He was out for 32 days, and all he did was put on a performance that It didn't even look like he needed to try that hard. Don't get me wrong, he obviously is, but he didn't ever have to put on the Superman cape. And even when he didn't put on the Superman cape, he threw for four touchdown passes. And yes, it was Miami, but let's remember 33 days off. Let's remember 33 days off. And because it was Miami, I think people are downplaying. They're downplaying it. But I think with that performance, kind of like a nonchalant performance that resulted in 4 passing touchdowns, Lamar Jackson put the NFL on notice. And he said, I'm coming. And Ravens Wired, their opening yesterday, did that very thing. They used the Wire, the HBO show that we all know that depicts, Baltimore, and everybody knows the scenes of Omar coming, and the whistle that's there that lets everybody in the neighborhood know that Omar is coming. Well, they took that and brought it to Lamar when he was coming back to Miami. And that's the way the NFL, I believe, views Lamar. Lamar is coming. It's time to circle the wagons. We're not going to have these games against Cooper Rush anymore. And the Ravens defense is getting better. And Lamar is healthy. And Lamar is coming. If you didn't, not only that, but how about this? There was a point in Ravens Wired after Lamar Jackson threw a touchdown pass to Mark Andrews. When he went back to the bench and was talking to his quarterback's coach, T. Martin seemed to be in a bit of amazement that Lamar saw what he saw.
Man, corner with man on
Mark
Who did Sean?
Oh my God.
I had to throw behind Jack. I threw behind Jack because he was like this.
Like, well, I don't know how you see it. I don't know how you see it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable how y'all do it.
It's unbelievable how you guys see it. He and Mark just constantly have this chemistry that's always been there. Lamar's building it, I think, also with Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers and others. Now, yes, the Ravens lost some games when Lamar was playing before he got injured. But do I think that the Ravens will continue to have a fumbling Derrick Henry? No, those fumbles come in clusters. They come in clusters. And I think it's time for another cluster where there's less turnovers. They're going to get back to an offense that doesn't turn over as much. That's really what spoiled those offensive outings. It was those types of things. Derrick Henry's going to get back to who he is. He already has gotten back to who he is. And Lamar is coming. Now, you know who else is coming? Brian Flores. We know this. We know that coming up against the Vikings, Brian Flores will be back. And he's going to come with all sorts of different looks. So many people are nervous. They've been thinking about how Brian Flores brought the zero blitz against Lamar years ago now, but that was under Greg Roman. I think Lamar has had better plans. And how do I know? This is why I'm not afraid if Brian Flores tries this again. Let him try it. Jeff Kerr of CBS puts out the highest passer rating when blitzed this season. Lamar Jackson has the highest passer rating of any quarterback in the NFL when he's blitzed at 136.4. Jalen Hurts comes up second at 134.5. Drake May, 125.6. Jordan Goff, 125 even. And Jordan Love at 122.5. Lamar has, again, the highest passer rating in NFL history. That's where he's at right now. His career passer rating is number 1. Now, of course, his numbers are going to look a little bit lower since he missed so many games. But if you look at his completion percentage, he's third in the league, 72.9. How about passing yards gained per pass attempt? He's number 2 with 9.1 yards per pass attempt. Passer rating, again, leading the league. It doesn't matter if it's against the blitz. Doesn't matter if it's zone. Doesn't matter if it's man. His overall passer rating is 136.7, leads the league. Lamar is coming. And Lamar, once again, when he was at podium yesterday, he was nonchalant, but I think that you should take him at his word when he says he believes the Ravens offense has turned over a new leaf.
No doubt. Like I said, we've been locked in for the last couple of weeks, and we got to stay that way. You know, I believe we turned a new leaf. I believe so.
Very simple. Very simple. Listen again.
You know, I believe we turned a new leaf. I believe so.
Okay. So I think that's the number one reason that Vegas keeps putting the Ravens ahead of the Steelers. How about this? Here's number two. We've talked about this. The schedule. The Ravens had played the fourth toughest schedule. This was leading into the Miami week. The Ravens had played the number 4 toughest schedule of the year so far. And now the Ravens have the 6th easiest schedule the rest of the year. I remember, Bobby and I debated this a while back. He said, throw the records out, throw the schedule out. No, you can't throw it out. I understand what he was saying. He was saying based off they were playing, it wouldn't have mattered. But it does matter. And I bet Kalshi has that in their calculations. Okay, here's my third reason that I think that Vegas likes the Ravens. How about Kyle Hamilton? How about Kyle Hamilton and everything he's been doing on the defensive side of the ball? Over at The Athletic, I'm going to perhaps butcher his name, and I really don't want to. Ted Nguyen, I think. Sorry, Ted. Ted put together a comprehensive look at Kyle Hamilton and how he saved the Ravens defense last year versus how he did this year. And we know it. We've talked about it, but check out these numbers. Ted tweets this out. Just put Kyle Hamilton wherever your defense is weakest, and it becomes a strength like magic. Okay? So up above on this chart, and it's 2024. And then you look how often Kyle Hamilton was back deep. Only 24% of the time. And that was the Ravens' weakness last year. It was more coverage. They were actually number 1 in run defense. It was coverage where they were having a hard time. He was only back 24% of the time. What did that result in? Only the 26th ranked defense in terms of completion percentage of passes for 20 or more yards. That's good for 29th ranked in the defensive EPA on such passes. We all remember how bad they were just thrown over the Ravens' head left and right, easy scores. So the Ravens see that that's a weakness. They put Kyle Hamilton back. So then they bump it all the way from 24% to 56%. More than double. Suddenly, in weeks 9 through 18, that completion percentage on passes of 20 or more yards, now they're 7th. They go from 26th to 7th. How about the EPA on those passes? 29th to 4th. A night and day difference by one player moving where he's at. Complete opposite this year. Ravens doing okay in the back end. Corners are playing well. Malachi Starks, shaky at times for a rookie. We get it. He is drinking from a fire hose. But it's the run defense that's been a problem. So the Ravens go out and they trade for Alohi Gilman. And now look at what they do this year, weeks 1 through 5. Kyle Hamilton's box and slot assignment up closer to the line of scrimmage is only 36%. He's there in weeks 1 through 5. Well, while he's not there, teams are just gashing the Ravens defense. 146.4 yards per game, 4.7 per carry. Ravens like, well, we can't do that. We already lost Nnamdi Madubuike. Now they've lost Washington. Again, it's why everybody wanted Eric DeCosta to address the interior defensive line. But instead, their solution is, you know what? We're going to put Kyle Hamilton back up into the box and slot. And now, week 6 through 9, he's been there for 94% of the time. Those 146 yards get slashed to 85.7 per game The 4.7 per carry slash the 3.9. I think Ted's onto something here. Wherever you put Kyle Hamilton in your defense, wherever it's the weakest, it becomes your strength like magic. Here's Dan Orlovsky, a great quick film dive on how he's able to do it. A safety being able to completely turn around the run defense.
Stan, why will they pose such a challenge for J.J. McCarthy this
well,
week?
Kyle getting closer to the football with the Gilman addition really has made offenses playing against the Ravens defense very one-dimensional. It's hard to undersell or oversell how impactful this dude's been. First of all, Miami would line up with 6 offensive linemen. This is a safety walking down and meeting this guard in the hole, and his job is to redirect this outside zone. You tell me that he doesn't do it. I mean, that's unbelievable that he is meeting a guard in the B gap. And that's allowing that backside run defense. Now he's kind of a little bit outside the play, the smarts that he has. He shoots the gap inside. No chance that tight end can get him. And all of a sudden, that back gets hit at the line of scrimmage low with Kyle Hamilton. Now he's at the line of scrimmage. We've seen him inside. We've seen him outside. Now he's at the line of scrimmage. Tight end, absolutely no shot. And then there's that retrace to get in on the pile. Once again, at the line of scrimmage. Now he's weak side, off that backside tight end. Sets the line of scrimmage, scrapes along the line of scrimmage. Vision, smart enough to realize here comes counter, gets underneath the block, and there's another TFL. The reality is that this defense stunk in the run game before this happened. Stunk. Just look at the numbers right now, where he's lining up all over the place. But his ability to be down near the football and create negative runs has totally transformed this defense. I would say it's totally transformed the realistic element of can they get to the Super Bowl or not.
I mean, that last phrase at the end, I don't know that I can jump all the way on board with that, but Kyle Hamilton changing the defense to the point that Dan Orlovsky is saying it can make a difference in terms of like a Super Bowl run. I'm optimistic. I don't know if I'd go that far yet, although there are some other pieces that we still need to talk about. But it's not normal. It's not normal. You know how people say that, like, the Ravens sometimes are like a mess and they're like, Lamar, please save us on offense? That's what Kyle Hamilton is on defense. Kyle, save us. We're in trouble. It's not normal that a guy can take a weakness like the pass coverage last year and completely transform it. And then now as a safety, you're gonna shoot the B gap, as Dan points out, and take on a guard and completely redirect the running back so that he can't run where they want to go in an outside zone. You have to push him right back into your teammates. It's crazy. It's insane what he can do. And I want to hear more people talking about him for Defensive Player of the Year, the way he keeps saving this defense. It's insane what he's doing. The only problem is you can't be Defensive Player of the Year if your defense is going to be absolute trash elsewhere. You have to have a respectable ranking, I believe. Ravens are 3-5. He probably can't be in the conversation at 3-5. But if the Ravens go on a run, like I think they will, not only will you hear more people talk about Lamar Jackson with MVP, but I think you'll hear more people talking about Kyle Hamilton for Defensive Player of the Year. Okay. Another reason why I think that Vegas believes the Ravens have great chances not only to win the AFC North, but the AFC. Again, the trades that Eric DeCosta made were incomplete. They were incomplete. But two things can be true at once. It can be incomplete and also look at some of these other trades and be like, okay, this is going to help. This is going to help. And Dre'Mont Jones is going to be one of those guys that I think is for sure going to help. Here's Chris Sims on Dre'Mont Jones.
I love this pick right here. I mean this trade, excuse me. I mean Dre'Mont Jones he's a player, man. That's what I look at. I mean he's a guy I think that when I look at it and go, yeah, not only is he going to help, he can rush the passer, but he's versatile too. Yeah, he can play stand-up outside linebacker and drop into coverage. He can come off the edge and, of course, rush the passer that way. And then the other thing is he can be sneaky and get on the inside. He's got enough play strength to like, hey, it's a passing situation or we're not sure. We want pass rushers on the field. Let's kick him the defensive tackle and let him play 3 technique and get it on the edge of one of these slow big guards and do that. So that's where it's really valuable. And with this Ravens defense, as we know, gotten healthier quicker than I expected it to. And yeah, and then I also think the what do I want to say, the leap from Mike Green, the 2nd round pick, right, from Marshall, you start to go, oh, watch out. Holy crap. They're going to be able to create some chaos on that front 7 right now and got some things going there. So, yeah, I think that was one of the more under the radar, really damn good moves of the trade deadline.
So when Femi Amandejo comes on in a few minutes, one of the things he wanted to talk about was Dre'Mont Jones and Carl Lawson. And so I won't go too deep into it, but he's talking about potentially, again, using these guys to manufacture a little bit of chaos because he can pressure from the outside and the inside. And then you add Kyle Hamilton to that. We'll see what Carl Lawson can bring to the table. You've got the rookie who keeps getting better in Mike Green. Kyle Van Noy needs to step things up a bit. But we're going to talk about this further with Amandejo in a few minutes, so I won't go too deep into it. But I will say this. If you're wondering how quickly Jones can get on the field, it's going to be this Sunday. John Harbaugh made that clear.
A lot. I mean, we're really happy with it. It's something that had been in the works for a while, and he's a good fit for us. You know, the system he's been in for the last 3 years is the same system, so he picks it up quickly there, and he's a really good fit just style of play-wise. So we absolutely will get him weaved into it right away, and he'll be playing on Sunday.
He'll be playing on Sunday, and it's got to help because Jonas Schaefer put up the win rate for the Ravens rushers on true pass sets, according to PFF. Dre'Mont Jones ranked 48 out of 93. Okay, that's not like top 10, but look at this. Mike Green, 62 out of 93. Tavius Robinson, 82. Kyle Van Noy, dead last, 93 out of 93. Travis Jones on the interior defensive lineman, he's 29th out of 95. John Jenkins, 67th out of 95. So Jones is going to help. We'll get into that more. And then my final reason that I think that Vegas is a bigger believer in the Baltimore Ravens than some Ravens media members and some Ravens fans is because they're healthy. Listen, I know that they've got people on IR. Obviously, Nnamdi Madubuike is there, Tavius Robinson, and others. But even still, a lot of teams have people on IR, and they still do not have this, what the Ravens announced yesterday. Here's their tweet from yesterday. The Ravens had no injuries to report on Wednesday. Every player was a full participant. And so they emailed this out to the media. Here's the Minnesota Vikings list, which is somewhat normal for Week 10. Baltimore Ravens, not a single list. Not a single person on the list. Can't downplay that Roquan Smith is back and Marlon Humphrey is back and Lamar Jackson's back. It all plays into it. So those are the reasons that I think that Vegas still loves the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, let's run over to a quick ad read, and I've got Femi in the waiting room. Definitely want to give a shout out to our longest standing brand partner, which is Manta Sleep. They've been with us from the beginning, and we appreciate them and all that they do. Let's remove this here. There we go. Here is their website. And you guys know that I give Bobby a hard time when he drinks his energy drinks because I'm a big fan of if you're tired, you should sleep. It's the best thing for your body. Manta Sleep, that's their mission, to empower light sleepers to sleep better so they can do more. We believe great sleep is the non-negotiable foundation you need to create your best life, that it's impossible to unlock your full potential if you're not getting an afternoon nap every day. I got to say, I don't get that. But it says a nap beats coffee, hands down. Agree with them there. So here's some of their best sellers in terms of sleep masks. They've got the brand new Sound Max New Gen, which I have holding in my hand. I had to run upstairs and grab this from my son's bedroom. We've now got 2 of these in my household. My kids love it. You've got the Bluetooth inside of the mask, so you can connect it to your music or whatever you want to listen to. The cup shaped over the eyes makes sure that it blocks out sunlight. you will get a deep sleep with the sound mask. Or if you don't want a sand mask, there's the pro mask, the silk mask, which my daughter loves the most, then the original sleep mask. There are so many other things. They've got the Manta Sleep earplugs. If you just need to block out, I don't know if you have like a snoring spouse that might sleep next to you or anything like that. So those can be helpful. The white noise machine, this is also popular in my house. My youngest daughter, 8 years old, Ella, she loves this. However, there are different types of noise. You can get different types of white noise. You can get different types of brown noise. I mean, everything that you can think of, but just put it over where there might be a lot of noise coming in from the room, and it'll help block that out to make sure you have a deep sleep. There's so many different add-ons you could look into: the silk pillowcase, the travel pillow, blue light glasses, blackout stickers, Arctic bed sheet set, nasal strips. Anyway, go ahead and take a look throughout their website. Find something. If you're having a hard time sleeping, definitely start here with Manta Sleep and their different masks and the things that they have. And if you do, be sure to use code VAULT10 to get 10% off all of Manta Sleep products. I've got that comment or that code pinned in the live chat. I've also got it in the comment section underneath this video right now. There's a link that you can click onto. Again, use VAULT10 for 10% off of any of these Manta Sleep products. You will sleep better. If you sleep better, you will feel better. I will tell you that. Now, my long-awaited guest that I've been teasing from the beginning. You know him. He's been on the show a few different times. He's a Super Bowl winner with the Ravens. He always has such good insight. He says it with a lot of passion. Femi, how are you, buddy? Thanks for joining.
I'm doing good. Just in between some appointments today. Thought I'd park on the side of the road so I can focus. You know what I mean? So here we are. Happy to be on the show. Excited to get into some of these things with you.
Yeah, I am too. Before we do, didn't you just go to the Purple Evening over at
I did.
Stadium?
Yeah.
How was that?
And I ran into a number of VAULTRONs. You know, for those that don't know, it's a women's driven event that the Ravens hold every year. About 15,000 women. The only men there are security and Ravens players. And there's a lot of alcohol being consumed. So you can only imagine what that's like. But it's a great time. I think it's an amazing event. I don't know how many other teams do that for the women in their fan base, but the Ravens do. Outstanding. I got a great picture with Zay. I should probably share it with you. I should have shared it with you before the show. It's awesome. I was signing some autographs, taking a picture. Zay jumped in, photo bombed real quick. The picture actually came out. You know, sometimes you have just this kind of kismet of a photo where all the faces and all the timing just comes together. It's an amazing photo. So yeah, it was a great evening. That was Monday night. That's
great. Yeah, send that over. We'll have to show it on the show. And I'm so glad that you were able to talk to some of the VAULTRONs over there. Okay, well let's dive into it. We've got kind of some things that we want to address now. One thing that you had mentioned to me in text messages that you kind of felt like there was maybe some negativity or maybe even toxicity kind of going, especially around the trade deadline and all of that. What do you want to address there?
Yeah, you know, I think let me start with why I understand first. I think it's important to kind of find some common ground. I know that everybody was frustrated, and I think everybody's frustration started at the beginning of the season. You know, we have everybody around on planet Earth telling us that the Ravens are the best team in the NFL. They have the #1 roster in the NFL. They're going to go 14-3 and win a Super Bowl, and the start was anything but that. So, you know, when your cup is filled with disappointment, what do you think happens when someone knocks your cup over? Disappointment comes out. And I feel like with that disappointment came a relitigating of Lamar's commitment to the team, which I don't think is justified. EDC's intelligence, and I'm not sitting here saying EDC's top 5, but I have a long lens. And the Ravens are the winningest franchise in the NFL since the inception of the team. This is a fact. So if we look at things short term, we can justify anything that we want to feel. And all we care about is this season. I understand that too. But I think the relitigating of Lamar's commitment, EDC's intelligence, Harbs' intelligence, the offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, job security, I get it all. We're all frustrated. But it's one thing to question that. It's another thing to really make it personal. And I've seen some really real ugliness across the board, from content creators to the fan base. And it hurt my heart, to be honest. And, You know, I'm a thermostat. I'm not a thermometer. I don't respond to your anger. I set the temperature for me because I know that in real life, that resilience and how you react to things, and when someone knocks your cup over, what's inside comes out. And a lot of my consulting work, I'm a human performance expert. I work in this space. I have companies hire me to come in and talk about resilience and de-escalation and collaboration. And so, you know, I got to take my own medicine sometimes, even as an expert. I'm not perfect at it because I think humans are passionate. We love our team, but I think we got to keep it above the board, right? We got to keep it honest and we got to keep it clean. And some of the stuff I saw in the chat, especially in Bobby's chat, you bring a level of elegance and respect, Sarah, that I don't think as many people will get down in the muck and the mud. But I'm a natural fighter. So when I get challenged, what's in my cup comes out. You know what I mean? And so I did a lot of observing, and I was just really disgusted and disappointed by some of the rhetoric and the talk. And once again, it's not just a fan thing. I think it's a content creator thing. I think it's a fan thing. But if I reduce it down to what it is, it's just frustration and it's passion. And I just want people to redirect that in a positive way. And I'm not even looking at the chat. I'm not even going to look at the chat. Like, I've given all the emotional energy I'm going to give the chat. And I was defending Bobby. I was defending you. I was defending myself. I was defending the Ravens. And the bottom line is that if you love your team, stand by your team. You can give a critique, but let's not make it personal. And some of the things that I heard and I saw were just, you would never say that to someone's face. I guarantee you, nobody that said that stuff, if I was sitting in front of you, you wouldn't talk to me that way. If Lamar was sitting in front of you, you wouldn't talk to him that way. And that goes for everybody that was hitting below the belt, in my opinion. But that being said, my love and affection for your show and the Ravens is unconditional. Like, I don't care what people say or do. I don't care how bad we are. This is a lifelong commitment. I don't jump on and jump off when things are good or easy. I'm not going to abandon the team. Obviously, I'm associated in a way different level, but I can still give a critique. I gave my critique. Coach Munkin's play calling and complimentary football was terrible. The way the defensive played in the trenches was soft. The way the offensive line played in the trenches was soft. But I made the point that as the injury bug worked its way through the team, as the team went back to the drawing board and worked on things, nothing is static. Everything is dynamic. I see what Kalshi sees. I'm the one who referenced this weeks ago. They are going to regress to the mean, which means that, in my opinion, this is still a top 5 football team. You mentioned the schedule. We mentioned the additions. I am bullish on this team. Does it mean they're going to win all the way through to the Super Bowl? No. I haven't even talked about Super Bowl. All I've said is this is a playoff team. They're going to make the playoffs. And I'm taking a player's approach. I'm taking it 1 week at a time. Bobby made a statement about, like, they're still giving up too many yards. No, they're not. In this 3-game stint, they're averaging, what, 320, 330, somewhere in there. If they continue that run, 315 yards, that's a top 10, top 11, top 12 defense. They're giving up 13 points a game. That'll be the best in the NFL if they keep that up. I don't expect them to keep that up, but that will be the best in the NFL if they keep that going. And my point is that if they can continue to bend and not break in the red zone and continue to do what they've been doing, and you mentioned the addition of Jones and Lawson, I think those two guys, the brand recognition isn't there, but the quality of play that they're going to bring, I expect this defense to keep getting better. And I love those moves. They weren't the splash moves, but I love what they did. And one other thing I want to talk about is the draft. People don't realize that an average NFL career is 3 years. An average career for a first-round draft pick is 5 years. The average first-round draft pick that gets a second contract with the same team that drafted them is 30%. The average first-round draft pick, 50% of them become starters and stay starters for multiple years. That's not a big hit rate. So when people want to litigate the draft and where the first rounders are and this and that, I look at the bottom line. Have we won enough Super Bowls with Lamar? No, we have not. But he's still a Raven. But have we been productive and a great franchise and won a lot of games? Absolutely, we have. Is it good enough? No, it is not good enough. So don't miss me with my words. Like, hear what I'm saying. I'm giving you all the nuance. And if you don't want to hear what I'm saying, if you still want to challenge me, then so be it. I'll take it as it comes. But that's where I wanted to start. So I think I addressed my kind of like my hit list of things in the early part of what you and I have been discussing throughout the week.
Yeah, no, I think it's like a fair point. I don't think anybody's saying not to critique the Ravens, but you're just saying don't make it personal. And it becomes so personal where people are trying to apply motives that you don't know anybody's motive. You're not in anybody's head. You can talk about results. You can talk about play. You can talk about moves. You can do all of that. But then you're right. It does become personal. And it might be because people don't want to take the time to actually critique in a way that's not personal. It's just easier to go personal and to like just let all your frustrations kind of explode, you know?
Yeah, no, I think what it is that things that have been already set in the past, they bring them up when they get frustrated. And I think frustration and anger leads to the saying things that you probably regret and saying things that aren't even rooted in actual like data and fact. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, Lamar's terrible. He doesn't want to be here. All he's going to do is run. He can't run. He's slow. All the negativity, right? All those things that aren't factual. You know, you have a guy that wins 73% of his games. I mean, that's top 10 in NFL history. You know what I mean? It might even be top 5. And so my point is like, let's be frustrated about the fact that we know that we are on a path to winning a Super Bowl and that got derailed early, but it's not over yet. You know, there's no reason to throw the towel in and this kind of bandwagon jumping on and off and all that stuff. Like, look, if you want to do that, go do that. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for any of that. So I'm here for the critique on how these coaches coach and how these players play. Anything else about their mindset? I heard some dude say that Mark Andrews is washed, doesn't want to take a hit, doesn't want to get hit. I'm like, what are you? I'm watching the same game you're watching. I have no idea what you're talking about, right? It feeds into just negative statements and just almost a hyperbolic exaggeration of what reality is. But I understand why people feel that way. I just think we kind of cross the line when we start making it personal and then kind of relitigating things that have already been done and are no longer really valid at this point. So I think we should be optimistic personally. I mean, if we look at what's happened over the last couple of weeks, I mean, the Ravens are in the talk again. You mentioned the point about the schedule. The defense has stepped up. Lamar is back. I feel like once again, I don't think they're going to go undefeated, but can they go 10-7? Sarah, I've been saying this the whole time. They're going to go 10-7. That's what I think. Can 10-7 win the division? Absolutely. 10-7 gets you in the playoffs. Once you get in the playoffs, hey, let's just see what happens. And I know what is the thing that you said? Is it no team that started 1-5 has ever won a playoff game? Well, guess what? I'm here for it. These rules, these things. Well, have not won a playoff game. None have won a playoff game. Though.
Yes.
My point is that why can't we be the first ones to do it?
Yeah.
Lamar is the first one to do all kinds of things that no one's ever done. This franchise has done things that no other franchise has done in its own way. I know Kansas City can say that. Green Bay can say that. Some of these lauded franchises, they were the first to do certain things. Why can't we be the first? I am here for it. And until otherwise, I am going to believe it is possible. And I'm going to find the reasons why it can happen while recognizing that it may not happen. I'm here for that too.
Well, let's dive in a little bit into the trades. So just as a recap, as we know, the in-season trades that Eric DeCosta did was trading Odafe Owe for Alohi Gilman. He signed Carl Lawson, not a trade, but it's a move. Jair Alexander in a 7th to the Eagles for a 6th. Dre'Mont Jones for a conditional 5th up to a 4th. And then just recently they promoted Keandre Jackson and released Sanusi Kane. So what is your general feel for how Eric DeCosta did heading up to the trade deadline?
Yeah, see, what we don't know is how many teams he contacted that didn't want to interact with him. How many offensive linemen did he try to get that nobody would let him get? How many other interior linemen did he try to get that he wasn't allowed to get? And I'll tell you this, do you think the Jets are more willing to make a trade with Dallas or a team within its own conference? Probably Dallas. And guess what? Jerry Jones is fighting mortality, literally fighting mortality. He said, he's made this clear. He knows that his time is limited. And I say that with all the respect. I hate the Cowboys, but man to man, as a man with kids and grandkids, I respect what he's trying to do. He's a billionaire and he's an owner. If he wants to overpay for Quinnen Williams, God bless him. You know what I'm saying? Like, go for it. Do it. We're not giving up 2 first-round picks for Quinnen Williams. You know what I mean? I look at the value that we got from Dre Jones and from Carl Lawson, and I'll take what we have in Alohi and the improvements we've already made. Is it good enough? We don't know because the season's not over. Let's see it play out. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm here for it. I'm here to see it play out. And I will only be optimistic because it's the best way to be. Being negative is hard for me. Like, I can't get up and just be like, oh, they suck. They're terrible. This was terrible. This dude sucks. Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? Do you think he didn't try? I guarantee you EDC was on phones from the minute that Miami game was over until the trade deadline ended. I promise you, he probably tried to make a whole bunch of different moves, but nobody is really trying to help the Ravens. Let's be honest. They don't want to see us. They don't want to deal with us. They're not going to do anything to help us get better. The bottom line is they'd rather help a team that is in a different conference that's going to overpay than help the Ravens. They already know we're coming. Like this, I mean, and I'm not.
Because there you go.
What we've done the last couple of weeks and what's in front. Wait, Am I back now? Okay, yeah. It's clear that we're coming because of what we've done the last couple of weeks and what's on the schedule. Like, you have already outlined this. This is not purple lens, purple rose-colored glasses. This is reality. And this game this weekend is massive. I think this is going to be one of the harder opponents on the schedule. This, Pittsburgh twice, and New England. And of course, we already know Cincinnati's always going to be tough because that's what Cincinnati is. But I think it's there for the taking still. So the idea around the moves that were made, those moves were made because they were the best moves that could be made because there was a partner on the other end.
Absolutely. I mean, they always say it takes two to tango. I think it's more when people see trades being done that were actually done and it wasn't in your favor. But you made a good point about trading away to a different conference and whatnot. But kind of getting into it, obviously you're optimistic about it. What do you think that Dre Jones and Carl Lawson could bring to the table on the defense? Like, what do you think, how they'll be used and how they could impact, especially, I mean, the pass rush and the run defense?
Yeah, I think let's start with Lawson. I think he's sneaky underrated. You know what I mean? I remember when he was in Cincinnati. I remember him in Dallas. The dude is a hard-nosed, punch the clock, 6'2", 6'3", 260-pound, 255-pound outside linebacker. He has all the tools to redirect the run, to get pressure on the quarterback. He can be in exotic positions. You can line him up inside if you want to create this, like the former like NASCAR kind of thing where you have kind of these four guys that want to rush the passer, that none of them are big, but they all have good size and good power. He can be part of that kind of package. My guess is that Dre and him are going to be part of some unique package, maybe with Mike Green. I don't know who the fourth rusher will be. Maybe it'll be Travis Jones. And by the way, Kyle Hamilton, my goodness, the dude is obviously playing like an outside linebacker, a DB, and a corner all rolled in one. So you have this unique skill set of guys that I think we haven't seen them play together yet. So we don't really know. Or I think I can project and see where it's going to go. I think it's going to be amazing, but we haven't seen it yet. And I know a lot of people like Bobby, they need to see it before they believe it. But, you know, I'm going to use my analytical skills and my ability to project. I'm not going to wait to make a prediction, right? That's easy. I can sit back here and say, well, I'm going to wait. Right. No, I'm not going to wait. I've already told you guys what I think. And I think that Dre is 6'3", 280. He looks a little bit slimmer than that to me right now, to be honest, but it doesn't matter. He has a power game and he's got tools in his bag. He's got an amazing spin move. He's a run stopper. And I think if you look at the Jalen Phillips comp to him, I'm taking him over Jalen Phillips because what he is what we need. We don't need another 6'5", 245-pound outside linebacker that's going to get, kind of pushed off the line of scrimmage. I think that Dre is going to be much more powerful at the point of attack, and you can kick him down inside, which is what we're going to need. So sneaky good value from these two guys. And I know everyone's like, well, I need to see it to believe it. I'm telling you right now, book it. These guys are going to be productive, and this run defense and this defense in general is only going to get better.
How can it not get better? I mean, it's been pretty rough. Do you feel like, so one thing that I've kind of still critiqued, I would not have done the Quinnen Williams deal, but I would have liked to have seen EDC address the interior defensive line. But do you feel like Dre Jones is part of that solution?
Absolutely. But Sarah, it goes back to my point. How do you know that he didn't try? There has to be a partner on the other end. You know what I mean? And so he probably tried.
My more critique is that I didn't feel like he replaced Michael Pierce in the offseason.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're talking offseason, I mean, I honestly, I can't litigate that right now. Like, we're in the season. We can litigate. We can do a season, autopsy when the season is over about all the things that were done. And once again, you're actually correct. Like, I don't disagree with you on that. But that ship sailed. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the season. The trade deadline just passed. I do think that Dre is going to be part of that interior rotation at some point. He has to be. I mean, based on his size and the guys that we have, I think he's going to be part of the solution, and I think he can do it, by the way, as well. So,
well, let's pivot a little bit to the upcoming Vikings game. You just said that you think Vikings will be one of the tougher games left on the schedule.
I do.
What do you see as the challenges going against these guys up in Minnesota?
Yeah, man, that stadium is bonkers. Like, I've been there, and for those of you that don't know, I was a Viking before I was a Raven. I've been to that stadium. I've only been to one event with a former team other than Ravens events. And it was the 1998 reunion of the Minnesota Vikings team that went 15-1 when Randy Moss was a rookie. Like, I played on that team. And so I went to an event and I went to a game where the Vikings played the Niners, and that whole the whole skull chant and the horn, it's real. Like, it is the loudest place I've ever been in, hands down. That stadium and the Death Star where the Raiders play. Those are the two loudest stadiums I've been into in recently, and of course they're both indoors. And I know that Coach Harbaugh's been prepping the guys based on his post practice conference yesterday. But I just think that the Vikings are getting healthy, just like the Ravens are getting healthy, and they have one of the best receivers in the NFL. They've got a solid offensive line when healthy. They've got a fast and speedy, aggressive defense. I do think the weakness is probably the back end of the defense, and I think we can run on them probably too as well. But JJ McCarthy is the wild card. He's the joker in this whole situation. And I think that JJ is going to make 3 or 4 bonehead plays, and he's going to make 3 or 4 amazing plays. Are those 3 or 4 bonehead plays going to lead to points? And are those 3 or 4 amazing plays going to lead to points for the Vikings, right? And I think that's where the rubber meets the road. I think Lamar is going to play lights out. I think the offense is going to show up. Can the defense continue to bend and not break in the red zone, continue to give up around 320 yards a game, and sub 20 points? We win the football game. If we turn the ball over on our end and we give up more than, say, 24, 27, we're starting to get in danger territory. So that's kind of the way that I look at the matchup. But there's nothing overpowering about Minnesota or their operation. I just think they're a solid football team that's trending upward the same way that we are. I actually think that we're a good mirror for each other, to be honest, in regard to like our trajectory and what our goals are.
C. Brittle here asks, Femi, how do you feel the O-line will hold up against Flores' defense?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We have the size advantage for sure. They have the athleticism advantage. I know that Daniel Faalele makes people lose their mind, right? Talk about, somebody knocking your cup over and what's in it comes out. I know a whole bunch of anger and frustration comes out, but this is what we got. You know what I mean? The 2 inside guards are what we got. And my hope is that they'll continue to get better. They played really well. I mean, comparatively, they played better last week. Lamar was clean last week for the most part. If we can get that same kind of performance, I think we're gonna be solid. But we'll see what the zero blitz looks, what they do, and Coach Flores does. And if we can find a way to get them to ease off a little bit, like I honestly, Sarah, I'd love to see first play of the game, a screen. Like to Derrick Henry. Like, let's run screen to Derrick Henry right out of the gate. Let's show them like we have a countermeasure to what they're going to do. I'd love to see a quick drag by Zay or Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely too. Hot reads are going to be important. And the way that you win on hot reads is usually it's a break off. You break off a route usually and just make yourself available. And if they're playing zero coverage and you get past the first level, there's nobody else there, right? So when they do it, we got to make them pay. And they're probably going to hit a couple, but when we hit ours, we got to really make it painful for them. So was it C. Brittle? I hope I answered the question well enough.
Seems like you did. Dre Dog here. Dre Dog got a little bit. He made the rounds. He was on Bobby's show. I don't know if you watched it, and called in and had a very passionate response to the different trades, and it's been clipped and it's been all over Twitter. He says, "I don't doubt the players. I doubt the positions they are being put in. Zach Orr is the most helped defensive coordinator in the league. Will he be creative enough with these new weapons?" He says, "I'll believe it when I see it." No question there, but just any thoughts.
My headset turned off, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I heard his rant, and I had someone, once again, I hate when people are calling me when I'm on this. They don't know that I'm on this show. I heard his rant, and I get it, but I think his rant falls into the bucket of the things that I talked about when I came on the show. So I'm just going to keep it classy, and I hear him. He has a right to feel how he wants to feel. And if you're going to wait, if you want, you'll see it when you believe it. Then I guess when we're 5-5 or 6-5 or 7-5, then you'll believe it at that point. But I was on here weeks ago, Sarah, and I told you what I thought was going to happen. And I think my prediction is so far it's trending toward what I said. So I'm gonna stand on business. I'm gonna keep it classy, and that's all I have to really say about that.
Okay. Do you have a score prediction for the game? I haven't given mine yet either.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a close game. I think there could be less scoring than people think. I'm going to go 28-20 Ravens.
28-20 Ravens. Okay. So Lamar will be kept below 30. Has he been kept below 30 outside of the KC game where he had to leave?
Miami?
Yeah. Okay. Well, good
Yeah.
point.
I mean, but this is the thing. I mean, the Ravens scored their last touchdown in the third quarter of that game. They could have scored
Yeah.
more points, I think, right? So
Yeah.
I don't look at like a line in the sand of like, they got to score 30. I look at the game, the matchup, and the decisions that were made. The most important thing is, and a lot of people don't understand this when I say this, you run the football to win and you throw the football to score points, right? And what I mean by that is that the passing game is what the NFL is based on right now. But the teams that can run the football when it matters, which is short yardage, goal line, and 8 minutes in the fourth quarter with a lead, you run to win, right? And so, I think you could end up with a big lead and just say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to start running the football right now. Let's see if they can stop us. We're going to run the ball 10 out of 12 times. It may not lead to points, but it leads to a win. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the philosophy the Ravens deployed against Miami. They didn't need to get crazy after that. I think that fourth touchdown pass, I think the writing was kind of on the wall at that point. So like I said, you throw to score points and you run to win. And if you're going to run to win, you may not score 30 points, but you bleed that clock for 8, 9, 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. And guess what? All that really matters is that scoreboard at the end of the day, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, like I look at the Vikings team, and especially now that they're getting healthier, they've actually been through quite a bit of injuries themselves, similar to the Ravens. And that's part of the reason why they're resurging and looking more like the Vikings that they anticipated they would see. I think it's a very talented roster. But two things for me. I am not as afraid of Brian Flores as everybody else seems to be. I feel like Lamar is a completely different quarterback with a completely different offensive coordinator than he was in Miami 3 years ago. The tools that he's been empowered with by Todd Monken, he's right now has the highest passer rating against the blitz this season. And this is not a new trend. He's been doing this ever since that Miami game. So he even said yesterday he needs to be prepared for all sorts of looks because maybe Brian realizes they've solved that problem. But I'm just not as worried about that for Lamar. And I'm with you, like stretch things out horizontally. They're going to try to like stop the run. That's what everybody tries to do first. And then again, turnovers are everything. But so that could change the trajectory of everything. Turnovers could blow everything up. But at the end of the day, while I think that Jay McCarthy has a phenomenal receiver group and they've got their running game back on, to me, most times when I look at a game, and I put the quarterbacks head to head. And if one quarterback is far superior than the other, I'm going with the team with the superior quarterback. J. McCarthy, he's up and coming. He's been on a bit of a roller coaster ride. Lamar's not a roller coaster ride. Lamar keeps you up high all the time whenever he plays. For that reason, that I think he will be fine against Brian Flores. I think he'll outplay J. McCarthy. So I'm going to give him 30-24. Ravens win.
Yeah, no, I think we're looking at it really similarly. The last thing I'll say is I agree with you. There's no reason to fear what Brian Flores does. I think Lamar has already checked that box. And I always make the point, like, nobody's static. Everyone's dynamic. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And Lamar has the highest passer rating in NFL history for a reason, right? He is top 3 in almost every statistic that matters when it comes to throwing the football. And he's missed a couple games, right? So I put all my faith in Lamar. The only thing that could ruin this, as you mentioned, are turnovers and pressure, right? We saw 30 pressures from Detroit and 7 sacks. And yes, some of those were on Lamar, but it's because he was getting hit so much. I think he just started to kind of just get a little fidgety in the pocket. But I think a little time off, a little time to watch some film. The guys are getting better. I don't expect to see that version of Lamar. And Sarah, guess what? They're playing on turf. Lamar on turf is nasty, nasty. So I expect to see him use his legs on Sunday and put all this nonsense to bed about, oh, he's not healthy. He's not 100. He's not as fast as he used to be. I don't believe any of that. I see guys using their legs. I saw Joe Flacco run for 12 yards. Stop it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm watching Justin Herbert. He's a good athlete. He's 6'5", though. He's not Lamar Jackson. I'm watching him run for 30. Let's not get it twisted. Even Lamar, and I think he's healthy, even Lamar at 80% of his top version is faster and more athletic than all the guys that I'm talking about. I think that goes without saying. But he is going to have to use his legs in Minnesota just because of the nature of a road game, the volume in that stadium, and the multiplicity of looks he's going to see on defense. Sometimes he's going to have to put that cape on. I heard you earlier. Maybe it was your monologue. I don't know. It was some point I was listening while I was driving. Okay. Lamar didn't have to put his cape on against the Dolphins. He's going to probably have to put his cape on a couple times on third down in this game in Minnesota.
Give me some, just a little bit of read option. Let's get the defense.
No, we need that zone read, Sarah. We need to bring that back for real because it keeps everybody honest.
There you go. Real quick, Femi, there is some positivity for you here. Olu says, I love Femi's energy. Love it. And Lainey lately says, I agree with Femi 100%. Those came in while you were talking about being positive and everything like that. Well, I can let you go, but I know that you've texted us. Any other thing you want to touch on? We had the Joe Burrow versus Joe Flacco conversation. The 5 most important Ravens on the roster. I know you didn't like Bobby's list there. And then you sent me an Instagram of BYU head coach. Is there anything that you want to touch on those things before I let you go?
Real quickly, let's touch on this whole thing about Pat Ricard being, did Bobby say top 4, top 5 Ravens on the roster?
Yeah, I think he had him at number 2 originally. Then he came
Dude,
up with
mean, come on, bro. Like, dude, like, I love Bobby, but like, nah, bro. Like, come on. I mean, we can just start with
himself. I'll just say this. I threw it out at him on the cuff, and I think he was just remembering what it was like life without Pat Ricard. So I don't know that he had thought too deep about it. I kind of threw it out there.
Yeah, but I mean, the Ravens scored 40 against Buffalo without him. They scored 30. I mean, no, look, there's no universe I want to live in without Pat Ricard. But let's be honest. I mean, I can name 4 people on offense alone that like you're not going to take Pat Ricard over. You know what I mean? Zay, Lamar, Mark Andrews, and Ronnie Stanley. You know what I mean? Like, you're not taking Pat Ricard over any of those guys. Let's be real. You know what I mean? And I could probably make an argument for Isaiah Likely as well. You know what I mean? Did I even say Derrick Henry? I don't even think I said Derrick Henry. I mean, like, come on. That's 6 or 7 guys on offense alone. And don't get me started on defense. I'll just start with Kyle Hamilton. Like, let's just start there. Let's start with Roquan. You know what I mean? Like, that, you know, he's not top 10. You know what I mean? So, but I don't want to make this about like how good or valuable. They're all valuable. We need all of them. But this is the thing though. Like, we have to be measured in our hyperbole, right? And I know that Bobby is a don't tell me, show me. Like, I get all that. Like, there's a lot of ways that he does things that we don't see eye to eye on. But what I love about Bobby is his honesty and his passion. You know, and obviously he and I were going back and forth a little bit about, you know, about being right versus wanting the Ravens to win. And I know he doesn't care necessarily about the Ravens wanting to win. I know that. That wasn't the point. The point I was trying to make is that you can't try to make yourself right by kind of stacking the deck on all the things as to why this Ravens run is not legit. About the DBs from the Bears not being hurt. About, you know, the Dolphins shooting themselves in the foot. Well, didn't the Ravens shoot themselves in the foot? I mean, Derrick Henry fumbled in key moments. Zay fumbled in key moments. We had 8 starters missing in the Houston game on defense. I mean, like, we had no Lamar Jackson. I don't hear the evenness. Like, be objective at least, right? And this goes for everybody. Be objective. If you're going to talk about what we did wrong and who the other team is missing, then balance that out with the same type of mathematics on the other side. And I just don't see that. And by the way, this is a lot of people. There's a lot of content creators that want to be right. They want to be right more than they want to be objective. And I'm just not here for that. I'm not here for that. Like, yes, I'm a former Raven. I'm a former player. I believe in this team. But I'm going to take my own medicine, right? I'm going to say, like, hey, if they don't do this, this, and this, so-and-so shouldn't have a job next year. If they don't hit these targets, no, they shouldn't be playing. Like, I can be honest about that. And that's hard to do when you just want to be right. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's not about being right. I think that I can be a fan and a former player, but I can also be an analyst, which I am. I do a podcast. I talk on the radio. I talk on TV. I do this all the time. People bring me back because they trust me, not because I just tell them what they want to hear. I'm going to give an honest critique and an honest analysis. And I just wish that more people could just do that part of the job and not let the idea of wanting to be right supersede objectivity. And sometimes it's not ill intent. It's not done on purpose. People just don't realize that they're doing it. You know what I mean? And I think that's a really hard thing to do. You know, I think that would probably be the other thing that I would want to talk about, but maybe I overstated the point. I don't know where you are on that. And I don't know how much other content you watch, but I think objectivity and wanting to be right is a very difficult line to toe.
Objectivity is definitely difficult. Everybody's accused of not being objective. I mean, I just saw it the other day. I mean, it's whenever anybody in the Ravens media may disagree with a fan, the immediate critique is, oh, you're just afraid to lose a press pass, right? And so I would even ask for a press pass. I live in Columbus. I don't want one, but that's what I get accused of, right?
I hear you.
I mean, it's just it just feels like we're all eating at each other, right? We're constantly giving feedback. Objectivity is difficult. Admitting when you're wrong is difficult. This isn't just like a content creator thing. This isn't just a media thing. This is like all humans, right? It's hard to admit.
For sure.
It's hard to admit when you're wrong. Everybody wants to be right. It's all of that. I don't think I listen to enough local content creation. I'm always looking at the press conferences and maybe some more national stuff. So I don't get to see the local stuff as much. So you might have a better feel for that than I do.
Yeah, no, I get to see it a lot, and I feel like they float these conspiracy theories, but then they never come back and apologize later. Like the Ravens are going to lose a first-round draft pick on this Lamar practice designation. Lamar, they had a competitive advantage. No, they didn't. They were preparing for Lamar Jackson. They were happy as hell when they found out he wasn't playing, period. And we're talking about a practice designation on a Friday, not a game designation on a Sunday. If the Ravens really wanted to take advantage, they could have kept Lamar up and made it a game-time decision if they really wanted to like mislead people, but they didn't do that. You know what I mean? So anyway, I think all in all, Sarah, just to put a bow on it, we're all frustrated with where we were at 1-5. We're feeling a little bit better now, but everyone's not back where you and I are. I'm further out than you. You're closer to me than Bobby is. And a lot of people are still waiting to see. Well, hey, I'm waiting with you, but I'll lead the charge. I'll be the vanguard. I believe in what I see. And I told you what it's rooted in. It's rooted in a telescopic analysis and a microscopic analysis. In the microscopic, in the short term, they're doing what I think they need to do. Telescopically, I know who they are as an organization and who Coach Harbaugh is as a coach. And I think that's all going to come together with the best player on the planet, which is our quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Once again, they're not going to go undefeated from the last 2 wins all the way through to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that. I think they're going to be 10-7. They're going to be a playoff team. And when we get to the playoffs, Sarah, then let's have a discussion about where they go from there, about playoff wins and all that.
And just to be clear, Femi, because you do describe yourself similar to the way I do, that you're like an eternal optimist, right? Like you don't know how to get out of bed and be like a pessimist. So just to be clear, your analysis on the Ravens going to the playoffs is not solely because you're an optimist. It's because of what you're seeing, correct?
Absolutely. I think I've made all the points on the regression to the mean components, why Kalshi sees them the way that they do, why the poly market sees them the way that I do. It's because of the underlying metrics and the idea that the mistakes that happened are not going to continue to repeat. We're going to benefit from phantom calls that we got penalized for. We're going to benefit from fumbles that the other team commits that we committed to give the Buffalo Bills and Detroit Lions a win. All that's going to come back at the end of the day. It's all going to be evened out. We're going to get bad calls against us. We're going to get calls for us that are wrong, like the Miami game with the leg whip. It's all going to even out. And then we as a team are playing better football, period. So there's all these things that are coming together, in my opinion. The schedule getting easier, player improvement, player health, complementary football. All the things that weren't happening are going to happen. Now, will that lead to a AFC North title and a playoff appearance? I think it will lead to a playoff appearance. That's all I'm saying right now. I'm not saying anything else. That's all I've been saying. They're going to be 10-7. They're going to be a playoff team. And once we get that done and mission accomplished on that, then I'm going to be willing to talk about the postseason and where it goes from there.
All right. Well, that's a good place to stick a pin in it. Femi, appreciate you. I could always talk for an hour. All of us could. That's why we do these things, but it's much better to have a conversation. So glad you could join me today. Lots of good points made and bringing back, trying to maybe erase some of the toxicity that is out there. So appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all love. I'm going to keep continuing to show up no matter what people say or do. Like, I'm always me 24/7. Like I said, I'm the thermostat. I'm not the thermometer. Be the thermostat.
That.
Don't be the thermometer.
I wrote that down. That's great. I love your sayings. Appreciate you, Fem.
Yes,
have
ma'am.
A good one.
All right, bye.
All right. Femi, I am Bedejo right there. He does. He's right. He'll say what he means. It's been a minute since I've been able to check out. I've been flashing up super chats all the way through, but from the beginning, Hybrid said, "Hey, I'm a believer." Sod Blitz said 14, meaning Kyle Hamilton will be playing Will when Alohi came. Dreams, yeah, says rip to Marshawn Nealand, only 24 years old. Doesn't matter if you're living your dream and making millions, mental health matters. Yeah, I just saw that news right before I came on. Great shout out from you, Dreams. And you know what? And that's in it perfect to follow that up with Eric Hill with a $50 super chat. Thank you, Eric. And to everybody that's given super chats, everybody that's here listening, everybody that's maybe liked the button or is subscribed to the channel, Eric Hill with his daily reminder in case no one tells you today that they love you. Just know that I do. Hope all is well. Happy birthday to Bobby's mom. Hopefully everyone is preparing for a great weekend and a win Sunday by the Ravens. Hashtag LJ8MV3. Hashtag Femi in the building. Hashtag Stop the 22. And hashtag VAULTRONs. And of course, Eric followed it up as he often does with 5 gifts of membership to the vault. So Eric, we appreciate you. Davon Barnes, it becomes the newest VAULTRON. We already gave a shout out to Olu and Laney. Appreciate you guys and your support. Eric Hill is back. He says, new on my bucket list. Oh, I should have said this while Femi was still here. New on my bucket list, meet Femi and pick his brain. I respect his viewpoints and agree with most of them. Hashtag Ravens will win. Sudesh cheering on the Ravens. Sees an 11-game winning streak. C Brittle, I gave your question to Femi. Dre, I gave a shout out to both of yours. Melissa says, love being a Voltron. I love you being a Voltron too, Melissa. And Felicia Randall says, hello, Voltron. So we're all caught up on super chats. I want to get to some quick hits and then we can get out of here. And I think coordinators speak today a little bit later it's usually around 3:30, but I forgot to point this out with the injury report. Not only is there nobody on this injury report, but look how far we've come. Right here is your week 5 injury report. This one that I showed for yesterday is your week 10. How far we've come. Chidobe Awuzie, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Lamar Jackson, Emory Jones Jr., Travis Jones, Tyler Linderbaum, Odafe Owe, Patrick Ricard, Roquan Smith, Ronnie Stanley, Brent Urban, Kyle Van Noy, Devontae Walker, Nate Wiggins. All those guys were on the injury report that week. No wonder. Wasn't that the week that they lost to was that the Houston Texans week? How far we've come. Sometimes you just need to count your blessings. Sometimes it's so easy to look at what you don't have and not appreciate what you do have. My goodness, how far we've come. Meanwhile, Mark Andrews was at podium yesterday. He was asked by the media, as transcribed here by Jonas Schaefer, whether he had any doubts if Baltimore would trade him at the deadline. Mark said that he knows how much love there is for him within the Ravens organization. Kind of like that answer. He didn't say no. I know how much they love me inside this organization. Check this out. Ben Roethlisberger, does he still do his show weekly? I think that's what he does. He had some comments about the weapons that Aaron Rodgers gets to have in what is likely his last year in the NFL. He's only signed 1 year with the Steelers. And here's what Ben Roethlisberger had to say.
I think it's funny because they're giving Aaron DK all these things, and I got a center that had never played center before my last year. It's amazing. But
that's the same. That's the equivalent.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
My other thing I would.
Aaron got DK Metcalf, and I got a center that had never played center before. Ben Roethlisberger looks to be a little bit jealous of Aaron Rodgers and what the Pittsburgh Steelers are providing him versus others. Meanwhile, Dre Jones, like I said, he came for the first time, practiced with the Ravens yesterday, met with the media in the locker room afterwards. He was pelted with questions. He still seems like he's just trying to get his bearings and just can't even believe what happened. He said that he found out that he was traded. He was helping bathe his children when he found out that he was being traded. But here he is answering a bunch of questions in the locker room yesterday after his first practice as a Raven.
What's the last 48 hours been like for you?
Craziest moments of my life. There's been a lot going on. Just trying to get adjusted. The good thing is I've been in some systems that are similar to here. So there's a couple new players for me, but I think the overall basis of it, I understand. But it's been dope. I'm loving the Ravens organization. It's not easy, but, you know, it's the NFL and ain't nothing easy. Transition, I mean, it's been like that. Like, step of a finger, next thing you know, Baltimore. Like, it's been quick, but, you know, I think I'm ready for it. You know, I've been training for this all my life to be prepared for something like this. I think I'm going to be ready.
He's ready. He's ready. John Harbaugh said he will play. He says he's going to be ready. I think he will be too. Listen, he's played in 2 defensive systems over the last couple years. One with Mike McDonald, obviously former defensive coordinator in Baltimore. And then, why am I forgetting his name? The defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Maybe the chat can help me out with that. But he obviously coached on the Ravens defense also. And so they use a similar scheme. So there's going to be a few changes, of course. The way the Ravens implement it or the communication style and all that is going to be different. But there's no reason why he can't do what Alohi Gilman did several weeks ago and jump right in and help start impacting this defense right away. Now, we had a discussion, Bobby and I think on Monday coming out of the Sunday games. And I had said that based off of how well Joe Flacco was playing with the Bengals, based on the fact that he's got just an amazing set of wide receivers that is definitely the best in the league. And it'd be fun to rank the receiving core all time with some of those of throughout the ages. But Joe Flacco was just having a blast. But LaShawn Shady McCoy on Speakeasy was saying similar things to me. Like, is Joe Burrow really all that? Like, how are we ever going to know? Because he's always had elite wide receiving cores.
But Joey, I ain't never seen Joe Burrow without superstar wide receivers.
And you ain't gonna never see him without him.
And know what I know about Joe, he always balls. But I'm like, okay, you take him out the picture, you put an old 40-year-old quarterback that's been regular for a long time, right? He looks phenomenal. I don't recognize Joe Flacco right now. I don't. Because there's a lot of talk about Lamar Jackson. I don't think if Joe Burrow had the wide receiver course Lamar Jackson had over the years, that he goes as far as Lamar, or does as much as Lamar does.
Oh, say that again. I just say that again.
Joe Burrow had the wide receiver course Lamar Jackson had over the years, that he goes as far as Lamar, or does as much as Lamar does. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to say this.
I don't think so.
We'll never really get a true answer to your question.
Okay.
Because Joe Burrow played at LSU with the top 2 receivers in the league. Now, he had them in college.
Come on.
And he's going to play the foreseeable future with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins at least the next 5 years.
But the bigger question is this. You paying this guy all this money. He's always hurt. And every time we bring his name up, we say how good he is. And then we say, well, he took him to a Super Bowl years ago, right? That was years ago, wasn't it?
Long time ago.
Was it 4 years ago? 5 years ago? What was it? It's been so long, I don't remember. But that's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's been a while.
All right. So my thing is, do we save some money and go get a good quarterback and let him do the same thing that a 40-year-old quarterback is doing now?
But
maybe go get some defense? Because I'm thinking like, man, if the Bengals get some defense, anybody can put points up with the offense because Joe Flacco's showing us that.
I mean, I kind of like, how can you not ask that question? When you're paying somebody as much as you're paying Joe Burrow, $200 million plus, it's like, wait a minute. Joe Flacco at 40 years old can do this? Maybe we should just play a bunch of receivers and not have to pay a quarterback. I mean, I get the argument. Here's the only downside to that. I remember there was a time when people were saying, oh, maybe Tyler Huntley could replace Lamar Jackson. That was crazy talk. Although I got to say, Tyler Huntley never put up the numbers that Joe just put up. Woo-wee. But that middle part, we're never going to get the answer to that question. If Joe Burrow had the receiving core that Lamar Jackson had in the past, would he still be as highly regarded as he is now? We're never going to get a fact. We're never going to get to see that, to TJ Houshmandzadeh's point, because he's signed with these guys for the several years to come. They're all locked in. All right. Anything else I got here? I think that wraps it up. Get one more super chat in here from Dre Dog. Thanks for being so active today, Dre. Says, I remember a time when players would get hurt and never come back. Shout out to Scott Elliott and crew. They need to get more love. Scott Elliott being the head strength and conditioning coach at the Ravens. He replaced the former strength and conditioning coach that, there was a lot of controversy around him. Dreams comes in with a super chat here at the end. He says, I've been saying this for years. Burrow has always had help in college and now the pros. Is Burrow really that good with the team like Vegas or Cleveland? How can you not ask the question? How can the question not be asked? Answers probably not there, so we'll all hypothesize. But I'll tell you what, things that Lamar Jackson has done with the receiving core that he's had, and it's gotten better. It's not close to the Bengals receiving core or even the Vikings receiving core who we're about to see on Sunday. So there you have it. There you have it. There is your, what day is today? I'm losing the days. Thursday. There's your Thursday Vault lunch, noon lunch live stream. Now, we will not be live tomorrow. Bobby, as I've said, is in Belize celebrating his mom's 60th birthday. I've got a ton of company in town. So with Bobby out and the amount that it takes to do a whole show solo, all the backhand stuff and the content and all of that, with company in town, we said, you know what, we'll take it. We'll take the Friday off. So we will not be here tomorrow, which is why we did a preview with a Vikings reporter yesterday, did a little bit more today, me and Femi Imadejo. So the next time you will see us, the next time you'll see Bobby, you can go to his pregame show before the Vikings game. He will do that from Belize. And the next time we'll be live on this channel will be post-game after the Ravens beat the Vikings 30-24, as I have predicted. I really do. I really do think the Ravens are going to win this game. It's going to be tougher than Miami, obviously. It's going to be tougher than some of the other ones. But I think they're going to continue their run. They're going to continue their run, and Lamar is going to continue to put the NFL on notice. That is what I believe. And then one more, Dre Dog says, Sarah, do a pre-recorded God message, please. Well, Dre Dog, maybe one of these days I will. You know what? We already know this. My faith is near and dear to me. It's a divisive topic, that is for sure. So you got people like Dre Dog asking for it. There's people in the comments that say, get it out of here. I will never hide from my faith, that's for sure. But a pre-recorded message, I'll have to think about that. Maybe I'll send one to you, Dre Dog. Maybe when I'll send one to you. I'm on a big kick. I'm a big honesty kick right now. I really believe that 99% of the time, not that I'm able to accomplish this, but 99% of the time, I believe that you should not tell a lie. I'm not talking about opinions. I'm talking about lying in terms of like bending reality, bending the fabric of reality, and something that you know is a lie and you say it anyway. So anyway, I could send that to you, Dre. I could send that to you. Anyway, much love to you. Much love to everybody that's been in the chat. Much love to anybody that's listening live. Much love to anybody that listens after and is not live. We appreciate everybody that supports us. I will see you back here Sunday after the Vikings game. Bobby will see you before the game. Can't wait to talk to you then. Have a great day.